Gently as they get through.
So
Go shepherd.
we're gonna reach, thank you. We're gonna reach and punch just to your left, to your right. And this exercise is for your lower back. What I'm warming up is these muscles here. So don't worry so much about the punch, just think about loosening up your back a bit.
Okay.
And as you get more flexible, you can turn more and more behind you. Relax. Fingers. I like to start warming up my thumbs. Just rotate them. And then turn to the next finger. Next finger. Good one.
Needs more self-concentration.
Yeah.
No, she can do.
And then last finger. And back the other direction. Back the other direction. Middle one. And now keep the movement going, but now move your wrists. And just slow controlled motions. What you're doing is just loosening up your hands, getting control in your hands, getting your mind in your hands, conscious of your movements, smart direction. Now bring your arms just up to your elbow, involved. Change direction.
First, I saw the flower on the door. I thought it was like something died. But it was like, oh, is it? It's like the Hindu thing.
And now bring the movement smaller. Still rotating. Now bring it back to you, just your forearms. And just your wrists. It's a really good one to do first thing in the morning. And back down to your thumbs. Just your thumbs should be moving. Next finger. Next finger. Back the other direction, and back the hands. Nice. Relax. Shake it out.
So relaxed, it feels so big. There must be some people
Like so.
barging in here from time to time. Should we just get out and cut their head off?
That'll do great things to your emotion.
They're Hindu, they're reincarnate and then get revenge back. They're not human.
Now this is a balance exercise. The focus is on the balance, not so much what you're doing with your leg. So pick a spot on the opposite side of the room that's fixed, not a person that's moving. And if you stare at it, you should find your balance is better. Another thing you can do to keep your spine is have your hands here in your shoulder grips. There we go. And imagine a line going from your from below your feet up through your head, drawing your spine up. You can change feet at any time as well.
You suck at your left leg, right?
ไม่ได้เล่นไปสอนส่วนที่ไปสอนคืออยู่ที่ผมไปนั่งเรียนนั่งคุยกับอาจารย์มีเวลาสอนมีเวลาคุย
Okay, relax guys. Coming down, feet parallel, facing forward. And this is just loosening up your hips, so we're going from side to side. And if you don't feel a stretch, widen your stance. You should feel it through your ankles, your hips. try and keep your upper body upright. Don't bend your spine like this. You want to keep, like you're riding a horse. So your lower body's moving, but your upper body's straight. Unflinch those butt cheeks. Nice. And now at the end of the movement, when you reach one side, turn, come back. Other side, turn, come back, turn, back, turn, come back. And if you're not flexible by the end of this, then I can't help you. Feel the stretch?
Yeah.
Good. Right then. Alright, cool. Shake it out, guys. Let's pick up some flavors.
Shouldn't wear this yet.
Yes.
This one, mine.
Turn off.
You didn't start it, right?
No, no, it's okay.
Yeah. Live the dreams. Save yourself.
So, I'm going to treat this workshop as a way to learn swordsmanship. It's also lightsabers, but it's also teaching the mechanics of swordsmanship. So, everything that I'm going to present will be helpful for tomorrow as well. First thing I want to say is when the lights are on, let's treat it like it's actually a sharp sword. So I'm not going to be doing this kind of thing. When it's off, I'm going to treat it like it's sheathed. So that's my protocol, and that's my way of practicing for using sharp weapons, being mindful when the blade is on. For you guys, I don't mind.
Sharp all the time.
Sharp all the time if you want. Cool. So, what I'll be teaching has nothing to do with the forms. There are 7 to 8 forms of lightsaber. But what I'll be teaching can be used within those forms. It's all mechanics of the body. You can use it at any speed, you can use it with any power. But it's really fundamentals and basics to set you up for a good fight. Okay?
Okay.
Cool. So, it'll probably be covering a lot of things you do already know already, but hopefully we'll put it together in a way that makes your swordsmanship better. So first thing, the goal of the fight. The goal of the fight is control of your opponent and not being manipulated by them. So all of us are basically very simple creatures. We're a big tube hinged on the spine. And if you can manipulate that spine, you can manipulate the rest of the body. And especially the head. So the head is the top of the spine. If you move someone's head, even if you get their attention, you take their attention away, you're actually moving the whole of their body. And the same is true in swordsmanship. So if I was to approach Nick, and I was to make him think I was going to attack him here, I've manipulated him because I've caused him to think about this side of his body. So immediately he's turned to protect that side of him. So in that very simple action, I haven't even touched him, I've manipulated and controlled him. So the goal is, when you're fighting, to be able to maintain control of yourself and still defend against someone. And the way you do this is basically by offending and defending in the same motion, which you know from German swordsmanship. And what I mean by that is always creating an offense to your opponent. So if Nick's distracting me, instead of blocking up like this, which really has no threat to Nick, okay, I'm going to change my angle so that he now has something to think about. Do you see the difference?
Slightly tilted, right?
Exactly. It's all in angles. So something I like to do is I like to think of the tip of my sword, whatever sword I'm using or whatever weapon I'm using, I think about there being a magnet to the middle, the core of the other person. So whenever I'm fighting them, the tip of my sword is always trailing back towards them. See what I mean?
Yeah.
Instead of really bringing it back here. There are some times where I do have to take my sword away, but I'll try and manage my distance so that it's safe. So if I'm going to bring my sword out of play, I've got the time to come back in. So I wouldn't do that through here, I wouldn't come out here exactly. Thank you. So when you're working with your sword, or whatever weapon you're using that's going to be a sharp weapon, I think it's different with stick forms. But if it's a sharp weapon, just try and always think about a magnet, the core of your opponent. And I'll come back to this a bit later. The other thing is managing your own structure. So depending on how fast you're moving, if you're doing a lighter, faster style, then what I say can be taken with a grain of salt. But the way that I like to fight is I like to keep my body more upright, like I mentioned before when we were warming up, like riding a horse. So the lower part of my body is moving, but the upper part of my body, my spine, is keeping straight. So even when I lean forward, see the angle on my spine is actually quite straight. And the difference between it being straight or loose would be, like that's the curvature of the spine. So you don't have to be upright, but you just have to have a straight spine. And the reason for that is you get a lot of power from your spine. Your body, you might have great muscles, but without your skeleton, your muscles are just hanging, from the rest of your body. Yeah, exactly. So your muscles hold your skeleton together, but the skeleton is the structure. So if you've got a good strong form, like a skeletal structural strength, you actually don't have to work too hard to defend against someone's power. So again, with Nick, if you come to me, the way that I'm facing him right now, all of my structure here is in agreement with itself. If I was to change something about what I'm doing, let's say, okay, I'm going to bend my spine. This is not good for me because even though I could technically get away from him, I can't resist his power easily. If he was to push against me, I have to suddenly work pretty hard to defend him. But if I've got a nice, strong structure, how do you feel about that? So I brought my whole body into play. And this is something you'll learn as you practice more with swords, is the points where your body is in agreement with itself. So I'll correct you guys throughout the class, but that's something I'll come back to. It's using your structure. So there's a theory that I have to look into, but it's about the use of language in swordsmanship, and it's the fact that in the old days, strength didn't mean like power, like the way we think of strength these days. The strength actually meant like architectural strength. Like if your building is strong, it's built well. And I like to think about that in terms of swordsmanship. If your swordsmanship is strong, it means that you have good structure, rather than power. Because your power will come afterwards. If you've got good structure, then you can add the power to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes.
Cool. So some real basic stuff. We're going to just think about cutting, but if we're close to an opponent, not taking the sword back past my hip. So let's all face like this way along the line. So in close range, what I don't want to do is have my sword out of play. If I'm further away from someone, it's okay to take the sword back because I've got the time then to bring it back into play. So we're going to alternate. We're going to just have some practice cutting, and then we're going to change it so that when we bring the sword down, it's going to come back without leaving the line of our body. So just start normally where we're just doing figure eights. Yep. And have fun with this, guys.
Okay.
I'm not judging you on your cutting. We're just moving swords around.
Sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, good idea, Bryce. Reach out when you're reaching forward with your sword. So swords up, guys, for a sec. Swords up, like upright. So the thing about a sword is it's going to reach someone when it's at the same level as your arm. The moment that it drops down, the see how my range is decreased?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But unfortunately, I can't strike someone like this because it's bad for my elbow. I mean, I could strike someone like that, but if they are ready for it, I'm going to hurt myself. So you've got to compromise your maximum reach for control. So a little bit of a gap in the elbow. So when you reach forward with your sword, think about where your maximum reach is, and think about how your arm is when you reach that point. So same exercise again, but just think about extending out from your body.
The same as my shoulder height.
Pardon?
The same as my shoulder height.
Yes.
เห็นในรูปของเทควันโดว่าโครงสร้างตัว
อ๋อครับผมไม่เคยเข้าใจว่ามันเอาไปทำอะไรไอ้รูปคน
This is clearly not meant to use by one hand.
What's that?
This thing is clearly not meant to use by one hand.
One hand, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a hefty lightsaber. Working with it, just it's different for types of work. If you want to grab an alternate, so you can cut, come back up to this hand and then take it with the other hand on the end. Yes. Cool, that's looking good, guys. So this time, think silver. Nice. Any questions? So this time, think about now being in range with somebody, where after you cut, you don't really want to take it away too much. So we'll start slower with this exercise. What you're going to be doing is bringing your sword down, and then bringing it up to the horn, basically, the buffalo, not the buffalo, but actually, no, it's by horn of fox. Oh, yeah, okay. Different system. So down and then up, and then thrust into somebody, flip it over, cut through, and then back up to the other side. Thrust, flip, cut down, up, thrust, flip, cut all the way through, up. So what this looks like is if Nick was going to be attacking me, so just that exactly the same thing, yeah. So now, actually, I'll do it to you, Nick. So I've cut to him here, he's blocked me. I come back up, and he knows that I'm thrusting, so he's going to defend. Yeah, and then I flip it down the other way. So you're leading someone to defend a side of it. If I'm thrusting there, I flip it over.
So it's like leading him somewhere and then you just switch.
Yeah, so if it was coming towards me, the thrust would be coming here and then it flips to the other side. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. Cut down, flipped up, thrust, flip, down, up, thrust, flip, down, up, thrust, flip, up.
You don't want to try that food.
I'm sure it's lovely.
Indian.
Oh, I like it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can add for some free food after.
In exchange for what? They're gonna.
Exchange for mercy.
Just be nice and add.
Cool, that's looking lovely, guys.
after you thrust, right?
Yes.
And then you cut with full reach,
Yeah, so
or
on
you
my
have
end,
to pull back.
as you thrust towards me, I'm going to do something to try and actually thrust towards me. So thrust with the hand. Yeah, good. So I don't want that. So I'm going to do something here, and that's when you come over and attack the other window.
I mean, like, you have to pull back slightly, or full reach.
So thrust. So I should be able to be in range already. And as you defend that, yeah. Yeah. So I should still. I mean, I can rock away if I need to. Cool. Good question though. So here's something that you can definitely introduce if you're not doing it already, is rotation. Reversing your hip direction. It allows you to evade, and it allows you to increase your power when you strike. It's known as reverso in Italian. Basically, it's any position that you would strike from, but just you change where your hips are going, but keep your face back going the other way.
Huh. I always wonder what it was.
It has a couple of advantages. Yeah. It's if you're setting up for a shot, and I wanted, so this is poste di donna. I'm not so good with the lightsaber because of the cutting through my spine. Yeah, but I can alter it a little. So if I was going to turn around and bring this back, I'm actually putting my whole spine into this defense,
So
which
it's
is
like
also very nice to
really commit
Yes.
without really putting yourself through.
I should be able to destroy you with this motion, unless you do something smart. Yeah. Well. You get the idea.
Yeah.
So the other thing is this is an evasion. If you're going to come and cut to my leg, actually try and reach me though. I'm your leg. Yeah, good. Again.
Oh, okay.
Really simple, except I didn't reverse. The advantage of the reverse is that you're setting your body up for the unleashing as you turn around. If I just do this, I don't really have much potential power to cut. It'll be a very weak cut. So, yeah. So practice that a little bit, the reverse position. So basically you keep your feet in more or less the same place, but you're rotating them as they turn. And you're, it's easier for a person with lower center of gravity to do this. Just think about your body hanging down. Oh my goodness, they're so loud.
We are going to be louder in 30 minutes.
Oh.
Let's do some ER in each other. Nice.
You want to do some? Okay, yeah, sure.
Hey!
All right, why not? Just for fun. So what do I say? Kia?
Yeah.
And then you say, ha!
Okay.
Okay, ready? Kia!
Huh!
Kia!
Huh!
Kia! I
Huh!
want to see some good cuts with this too, guys. Kia!
Huh!
Kia!
That's all I'm saying.
Nice. We're coming for you. Have a lovely dinner. Cool. So the reverse position.
Yeah! Okay.
We were ridiculous. Cool. Reverse position. Fantastic to use. If you want to do a minimal amount of work in a fight, it means that you can maintain your line. You don't have to move your feet, even if you're confident the other person isn't going to take a step. You can use this in German longsword, absolutely, 100%. Just be sure you're good with your distance, otherwise you're going to hurt yourself with potential leg strikes. Something I'd suggest for you guys drilling is to actually set up two people in range to be striking to each other, and then change the range so you have to adjust. That's something you guys can take away for class. Cool. The other advantage of this, if I could borrow your neck over here, and I'm going to keep working with you too. So, oh no, I have two people. If you could come over here as well. Great. Watch my feet. 1, 2. 1, 2. I don't have to do any work. All I've done is move my shift my arms through the reverse position. So if you guys want to pair up with each other, we'll make 2 sets of 3s. So if you go with this guys.
And we can call them people.
You people.
What do you mean, you people?
Right, two sets of 3s, guys. I said pair up, didn't I? I'm sorry. 2 sets of 3s. We're going to set up.
Okay, you can cut me. You can five.
You can cut me.
Okay.
One of us 3.
Okay.
ต้องเป็น3เส้นเดียวตรงนี้ไม่กับลาย
We're going to just do what Nick and I.
กับลายต้องปิด
Dude.
ไปเลยครับ
Run.
ลายตรงนี้
Fast forward to this section further. Pay no attention.
Right.
What the
It's the same.
Okay, you're working with us. You're working with them. Go away. Come here. Okay, Nick. You're going to be facing both of us. So pick one person to attack, and then reverse and attack the other person. Yeah.
ที่ได้มาที่นี่ไม่ได้อธิบาย
Nice. You've dealt with him. Come back and deal with me. Yes. Good.
Nice.
Nice.
Yay.
Nice. Okay. So people who are defending, make sure that when you defend, you're not doing a useless parry. You want to keep your angle down so that you've actually still got, yeah, you got it. Okay. Few more. Couple more. Okay, and switch, guys. Go. You can go in the middle. It doesn't matter which way. It works both ways as well. You guys. This works better if you're on more of an angle, like 4 o'clock, basically. See, I was right. So you're in the middle of the clock. You're at 4 o'clock. Or 8 o'clock. Nice.
ผูกขั้นตรงไหนเลยข้างๆเลย
Separate.
ผูกข้างๆเลยเดี๋ยวมันไม่ได้มันแต่น้ำหนักหลังต้องมีคิดดีกว่า
Try and keep your body, so your body is more upright, and where your rest and legs are moving. See?
ข้างนี้ถ่ายคือฝั่งนั้นฝั่งนี้ฝั่งนั้นเดี๋ยว
Oh, nice. Oh, okay, stop. Nice. Good stuff. Nothing to say.
Okay.
So this time, when you parry, you guys parry, be creative. I want you to alternate which side you're defending on.
Okay.
Don't just stand there. Be active in the drill. One thing that often happens is that people who are doing drills become really passive because they know what's going to happen. And unfortunately, that doesn't really help anyone because if you start to just relax into the drill, you're just teaching the other person to deal with someone that's passive. You want to actually be engaged in the drill. I'm not saying, I'm not saying be a dick or something. I'm just saying be mindfully engaged. So, for example, if you're striking at me and I know you're striking, I'm still going to do something. I'm still going to put my body into it. I'm not just going to be like, actually still engage. Because what it does is it teaches you to defend. If you're in the defensive side of the drill, you want to practice being a good defender. Okay?
Okay.
So same again, but active defense.
we can do something. Okay. Kind of.
Yeah, that's a good idea. after the middle person is turned away, Nick's actually cutting out a strike. This is something you could do in a choreography. It looks really good. So check out what Nick is doing.
งานการฉากด้วย
let's measure the range first
โดน
you okay maybe 7
I'm out of range right now. I actually have to work to get to.
Oh, okay.
มันลื่นอีกสุดอยู่
คัดพี่นุ๊กคัด
โอเค
เราจะแท็กเป็นไรเจ็บหนักนี้ก็เดินมาแล้ว
Sorry, I need to fix these guys.
มาสองคนกันกันผมปั่นพี่ปั่นบอล
All right, switch out, guys. Someone from this group, come into the group. And you as well. Let's take out
My role
Nice.
play. ไม่รู้เลยไม่รู้เลย
Nice.
คุณดอนนะ
Yes.
use control โอ้ย just not ยังไม่ได้เสียงวะ
อะไรอ่ะ
โดนแหมนะครับโดน
Good.
พี่นุ๊กผมใกล้หน่อย
แต่อยู่ดีก็ไม่พ้นนะ
พี่ก็เยี่ยมสิครับโดนไปไม่เยอะ
guys. So switch it up what you're doing with your attack as well. So something that Rye's doing is he's alternating how he's attacking when he comes back to the outside. So person in the middle, you don't just have to do the same attack all the time, just alternate. And it makes sure that we're paying attention on the end. Okay? Sweet. Nice. Yes, good.
โอเคต้องบอยนะแต่ยังไม่ได้เฮ้ยผิด
Yes.
โอ้ยโดนนะ It is the and he can hit everyone
Good. Good.
on the first time. That's how you go.
I have to watch this.
สัญญาณแห่งความพังมาอะไรเนี่ย
Looking nice, guys. All right, wrap it up. Good stuff. Okay, we're going to take 2 minutes of water, okay?
Don't worry, you can wait for you, right? Until 3 p.m.
He's 1/5 of the class, though.
And then use the force to catch up. Use the force. How to move?
เขารบกวนอะไรนี้ได้ไหมเป็นตีใช่ไหมนี่จะเล่นเซเวอร์แล้วมันกาดไม่ออกเลยแย่ทำได้เล่นเนี่ยหน้าตาเข้าเซเวอร์เลย
ตอนแรกเลยไม่ได้แอดเลยนะ
ออกตลาดที่ผ่านเส้นเดียว
All right, you guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay, sweet. Cool. So, what I'm going to be explaining is about when you're binding with someone, a good way to bind versus a bad way to bind. You know what I mean by bind?
yes
Yes, okay. Sweet. So when I'm defending against someone's attack, what I don't want to do is have my blade flat. especially with a lightsaber. With a weapon that has a large crossguard, I could possibly get away with this. Perhaps maybe with basket hilt. But generally, this is a very weak defense for me because I actually have very little ability to stop someone from sliding forward. What I always want to do is keep some kind of an angle with my sword. I want my hands to be high, my tip to be low, or vice versa. I want my tip to be high and my hands to be low. Never flat like this. It's very, very bad for you. And very good for your opponent. Now I'm not familiar with every single sword style, so I can't comment on other systems. But in my experience, this is the best thing to do. So, yeah. So as long as there's some kind of angle for your bind, you should be able to defend against someone. So if you guys could pair up, facing each other along this direction. Yep. Nice. So all we're going to do is test this, guys. We're going to be testing whether or not having an angle is going to help you or not. So if I'm coming here to have my blade flat, you should be able to take it out higher. Yeah? Yeah, okay. And then if we switch to be low, yeah, that's good. Nice.
Chạy tạm làm gì? Chạy tạm đó. Thay đổi cái đầu nó là
Yeah, pretty
nó
good.
lông tỏng nó dàiขึ้นmình thắt đầu thắt đầu nàyขึ้นปั๊บแต่คนนี้โดนน้ำพุ่งเดี๋ยววินเดียนแล้วกัน
You just mechanically have much more of an advantage when you have angles in your body. It's if you're extended, that should be the end of the motion.
กลับขึ้นมาที่ไหนจริงมันคือผู้เล่นรถไม่ได้ไปมาทางเกมเลยมาทางเกม
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
we'd like to do it unless, you know,
ถูกแล้วมองหาอะไรโน่นดีครับ
Hello. Hi. Welcome. Good to see you. If you want to put your stuff over there, Tim?
Yeah.
Over that side.
We're not sure if we get this time.
Okay.
So
what's up, guys?
let's say we bind like this. What am I gonna do next? Try to trust him.
Okay, so the question is what happens after you're in the bind? And this is a whole section, so you're jumping ahead because you're already onto it.
Oh.
That's okay. So the answer is you're going to be taking advantage of the other person at a time that's advantageous to you. So you want to wait until it's safe to move forward. You can use that term, of course. So we're talking about the binds right now, and I was explaining how you want to always keep an angle. You always want to keep your lightsaber not falling apart. So you always want to have either your hands low, your tip high, or your tip low and your hands high. Never flat like this. This is very bad for you because if I was to cut into you, you've got very little ability to defend. You always want to have some kind of structural advantage. Yeah. So, next question, which leads into the next section, is what do you do from the bind? The bind is the key to the sword fight, and this is in all forms of long weapons. If you bound with somebody else, and it could be a spear as well, it could be anything that's longer than a short kind of machete weapon. If you bound with somebody, you want to be able to control and clear them out of the way before you move in. And to do that, you need to have purchase on your opponent. You know what I mean by purchase? Like a grip. Like, yeah. Like a marionette. So right now, we're using two very slippery weapons. This is not very nice for either of us. But if they were stuck together, then we can feel each other and we can use the tension from the other person's body against them. So something that's been recorded in historical swordsmanship is the pulsativa, the pulse, which I interpret to mean when you're bound, putting a pulse through your opponent. And it's something that has to be felt. And it's that you're waiting for the right moment to pulse into somebody. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It's a little strategy you can use when you're bound. I'm not an expert on it.
Okay, you go ahead.
I'm not an expert on all the uses of the pulse, but this is just something that I can share with you today about what to do with lightsabers. So first of all, you need to be structurally strong for this to work. If you're not structurally strong, it's not going to be very good for you because you need to be ready to take advantage of the other person. So for example, I'm like leaning out right like this. Okay, this is not terrible, but I'm also not in a position to really do much once I've gained the advantage. So I want to have a good stable foundation. Once I've taken something from him, like this line here, it's good. But if, for example, he's really strong and I decide, okay, I'm going to slip around him, I'm going to make use of his strength by being weak. So he's decided to come back on strong. I go, okay, sure, you win me. Always keeping my tip. Oh, that's okay. I stepped into it. So my tip is always being pulled to him, the center of him. So pair up, guys, and just bind with your swords. You guys want to work together? You guys want to work together? Do you have a longer weapon? Does this will work better for you? Okay. I mean, that's not a bad tool. It's nice that for this exercise you feel more what I'm talking about. So if he does that, imitate him. Copy. Yeah, exactly. Because that will defeat that. Yeah, good. Remember to use your hips. You lean like back like this. You want to do that. Wait till this is actually good man.
ที่มันยากมากเลยนะถ้าเราต่อเวลาที่พลิกและเข้าแทงเราต้องยกขึ้นเป็นออก
ส่วนใหญ่ไม่ต้องมาเจอแบบนี้ถ้าเคนโดอยู่เป๊ะแรงอยู่แล้วประจำ
เข็ดแต่เข็ดด้วยไม่เหลือว่าพุ่งมาเสียขึ้น
Careful, Chef. You don't want to come close to your arms. So you're coming in like this, but the range, so just be excited more close.
เฮ้ยอ่อนได้เฮ้ยโอ้เราพักจับ
one to your left.
มันไม่ลื่นเหมือนแล้ว
Or just choose somebody, I don't care.
โอเค
It's not speed dating.
คืออันนี้ทำมาทำบรองเปลี่ยนกันนี่ซ้ำบานนะโอเคเป็นเนาะเข้ามาแชร์รูป
So he does that. Yeah. There you go. Hello, welcome. Hi. I'm Zan. Nice to meet you. Just bring this up over there. So, you're changing the mode at the moment. That's totally fine for this exercise. Just practice keeping the contact going. Okay. And try and feel each other's strengths and weaknesses. So what you want to be doing is controlling each other, moving around. If you want to change the base. So it's keeping contact.
Also, it's not disengaging.
Not for this exercise. Yeah, it needs to be straight. Sorry.
ดึงลงมา
เป็นลงคือ
อันนี้คุณก็จะเริ่มชนะ
ช่วงหน้านี้มันจะถูกรถติดอยู่
Very nice.
ตัดยังไงมันเอา
จาก
ไป
หน้าอะไรกัน
Okay. Swords up, guys. Okay. Hi, your name is Eve? Eve, cool. Okay. So what we've covered all today so far is body posture, and I'm just doing this as a recap for everyone as well. We talked about body posture. You want to have your spine upright. You don't want to bend your back when you're moving. You also want to be able to move your hips when you're fighting. Yeah? When you bond with somebody, you want your hands low, your tip high, and vice versa. You want your hands high and your tip low. Yeah? And always keep like a magnet going towards your opponent. So if he is my enemy, my tip, see how my tip is going towards him at all times, no matter where my sword is. Even if my sword comes back, I want to think about it thrusting towards him. Or even if it's a cut, I'm thinking about casting the tip first. So there's a magnet pulling the tip of my sword. Yeah? Cool. Alright, we're going to take 2 minutes for water and just to freshen up. Okay? Sweet.
ดูไหมมาดูว่าแค่ไหนเด็กนี่ยังเป็นแสดงตัวฝ่ายเลยเดี๋ยวเราส่งตัวเราแต่แสดงว่ามีสกิลอยู่ไม่ได้เลยครับเป็นรูปเลยที่มัน
เดี๋ยวเดี๋ยวละ
เล่น
ถ้าเป็นดาบไทยก็คือเป็นมวยก็คือน้ำหนักเขาเป็นดาบที่ลงโดยตรงไม่เปิดเลยเรามีเด็กอินเดียผมเฮ้ยอากาศดีมากเลยเว้ยที่ว่าไม่ดับมันเย็นได้แต่มันจะไม่อ๋อจะไม่ใช่ขนอย่างนี้
ก็ชอบเลยถ้าลิงแบบถ้าเป็นที่จะบอกว่าทำรีเวิร์สร้านด้วยไหม
ไปดีกว่าดีกว่าของพี่รู้อะไรมีเท้าเฮ้ยเขาเล่นด้วยเท่าไหร่พี่รู้ซื้อมาเท่าไหร่
5,500ไม่รวมใบอ่ะมองลงก็ใบวันพัน
ถ้าตรงนี้
ไม่ไปอันนี้ซื้อ2ซื้อเนี่ยนี่อันนี้ก็นี่เป็นราวการแต่หน้าดามันไม่สวย
มันแรง
อะไรก็ปวดใจปกติที่ไม่ได้ทำอะไรน่าจะได้
My first time I
Yeah? Nice.
We're gonna have some light sparring after the class.
พี่รู้สั่งมา
อันนี้คือ2คนแถวนี้
Maybe 40 minutes.
We're gonna play it for sure.
เรามองไม่
ป
ถู
ว
ก
ดแล้ว
เราเกิดกิเลส
เกิดละ
เราเกิดกิเลส2 อันโอ้แต่มันไม่มีเสียงคนที่มันไม่ทำเสียงแบบแคสไลน์กัน
สีฟ้าถ้าสีฟ้ามันก่อนนะ
ถึงได้
แล้วก็แอลส่วนหนึ่ง
อันนั้นมันถามที่บอก
ถึงที่ต้นเนี่ย3 ต้น
จริงเหรอน
ำครับตัวเลยตอนนี้ยิ้มอยู่เลยด้วยน้ำข้าง
มาถึงการสปาเลย
เหมือนน้ำต้มซึม
ไม่ต้องลงต้องเรียนแล้วบอกพี่เขามาถึงสปาเลยไม่ต้องเรียนแล้ว
คือถ้าไม่มีเสียงรอยย่อที่กระโสนี่แบบถ้าตัวกระหายไม่ใช่
อันนี้ถูกกว่า
พี่เขาว่าถ้าตามาเดี๋ยวเราปากจับ
อยากยิงกันไปทำอีกแล้วกดค้าง
ตอนนี้ก็เป็นแค่ที
เปลี่ยนเสียงได้เลยนะ
เป็นแค่ที
ยังไม่ได้โดนอะไรเลยอ้าวแล้ว
รับสาม2 คน3 คนตัวแบบ
เป๊ะๆเดี๋ยวอาจจะกินอะไรจะขนาดอันนี้มันสะท้อนแสงมั้ย
มันให้ฟิลดื่มตอนเลยหรอ
ท้อนเนี่ยเอาไปตากแดดแล้วเอาไปเล่นเดินแสงเล
มัน
ย
ไม่มีแดดแล้ว
แค่ได้
กลับไปข้างหลัง
Turn off the light with I want to see.
Afterwards. Not now.
Okay.
After the class. Thank you.
นี้มองฝั่งนู้น
แล้วเนี่ยเราลองก่อนมา
มีกำลังนี้พอมีกำลัง
แต่ละครมีจริงก็ว่า
ให้ชิ้นน้ำหนักกับ
เขาเป็นคนดีเลยแต่เรื่องของร้านส่งมาเนี่ยเอ้ยไม่ถึงเลยยอด
แล้วข้างหน้าก็จะแบบที่
ช็อตแอสบินโต
ทีนี้
Where is my ครับก็เป็นของอิตาเลียนเลย
เดี๋ยวชิม
คือให้อยู่อย่างนี้ก็ตรงกับโอเคเราคิดเนาะ
Okay, you guys ready to go?
ช็อต You almost hit me in the head man
น้อง
เนี่ย
พี่ดูเรียนเซเวอร์12 คนนี่หลบกันดีๆ
You guys good to go? Okay.
ทีนี้เอาซ้ายพอดี
So,
ดูเรื่อย
my fancy gloves are not just fancy fashion statements. They're actually so that I can show you guys something about the way your arm works. So, even though they are pretty fancy. So inside our arms we have 2 bones, one on top of the other. And I like to refer to this as the blade of your arm. So right now underneath the blade is the top edge is here and the bottom edge is there and this is the flat. Yeah? You guys know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm going to strike someone with my arm, I want to strike them with the blade rather than the flat. You know, that's a very weak kind of hit for me. The moment you put a sword in your hand, or a stick in your hand, or anything in your hand, you're extending the blade. of your arm. So even though the stick is round, it doesn't have a blade. I don't have a strong edge and a weak edge. I still do because of the arm has it. So the strong edge of my arm extends up into the tool. So that's why when you're using a circular tool like a lightsaber or a stick, you still have a good way and a bad way to strike with it. Now this is more clearly seen with swords that are flat. So if I borrow someone, you've got a flat bladed tool right there. So right now when we're bound, he's got his strong and my strong. And the way you can see, it's because where my thumb is and where my knuckles are. If I was to turn my hand around like this, actually I'm going to swap hands so you can see better. You can see where my flat edge is and my strong edge, right? Because of the bones in my body. And you can feel the difference, right? When I'm turning my hand, yeah. So that's bad for me because look, it's my arm has gone flat. So I want to keep the bone. So I'm in the same line that if I was cutting him with a sword. This is really useful for binding and also for making powerful cuts against your opponent. Because if I was to come in with a weak attack, like a wide attack, yeah, very bad for me. Oh no, I'm dead. I'm not dead because he's very nice and he doesn't want to kill me. So even when working with something like a lightsaber, you want to think about where the arm blade is. Okay? Cool. Good stuff. So if you guys can pair up again. Cool, and we're going to just be practicing distance this time, guys. So I don't want everyone hitting each other. I just want you to get comfortable with working with a person, striking, moving back and forth. Let's not go sideways just because we don't have much room. Your blade is fine for this.
Beautiful, eh?
So who's working with me? Someone can come work with me. Yeah. So we're just going to go slowly, guys. The point of this is getting 2 hands. Sorry, I was just talking. So the point of this is simply just to get comfortable with range and distance. Okay. Don't try and be adept to each other. Okay. And we're just going to be moving forward and back. Okay. So good. So let's say I'm going to change it a little bit. From this bind, if he's got an advantage, I want you to push the advantage and then take a step, and I'm going to step back. So step towards me if you've got the advantage. Good. Okay. And then we're going to reset, and now I'm going to do something. Yeah. Okay. Reset. Yeah. Did you get the idea? So we're trying to gain control of the center here. Remember to use your hips if you want. Remember not to do this kind of thing. Great in boxing, fantastic, but not for swordsmanship. Because you want to keep your spine engaged. And when I do this, look at my spine. I have very little strength to be putting into the power of my sword. Okay? And you can change as well. You can do this. Yeah.
Mình chỉ mấy theo vậy thì phạt đó, đó thì rồi đã điểm hay được không ạ?
Yeah, it is so great.
Đã điểm đó, là điểm thế này. Cao thì mình hayยังไม่ได้เกิดทำให้ตัวกัน
Exactly. Always keep an angle. You see, I can't get
เอา
it.
ไป
Can I respond?
การกระดาษ
ก็จะโดนแม่นปล่อยช้าขึ้น
แล้วเดินมาเนี่ย
แต่พี่หมุนใช่ไหม
สุดยอดเลยก็เดินอีกต้องปล่อย
มาถึงออฟเยอะทำไมต่อถึงออฟกดลงโอเคเชื่อ
Use your feet, right, use your feet. Don't let him crunch your body.
เฮ้ยเลย
Yes, better.
ต้องรอศิลปะแม่งโคตรหนักเลย
Yeah, so when you do that, at the moment you're doing this, you know this voice kicking out. Because, I mean, the flat is, you still have a nice defense up here, but if you were to pop in it, so, yeah. And now I'll thrust to me here. Yeah, it's harder for me if I don't have my to defend. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And it's also a strong position to keep it more like this. See, I've got so much strength.
ไม่ได้ร้อน
Very happy to move for you, but if I'm like this, do it again, push me. Yeah, I've got very little ability. Okay guys, stop.
แต่ไม่ยอมกัด
Stop. Cool. Something you can do when you're in those binding positions is you can think about turning your hips to gain power. So if I want to put more power into my block or my bind, turning my hip, do you see what happens to my body? As soon as I turn away, my power is going that way now. Unless I'm back like this and I'm ready to turn in. You see? But if I'm just halfway in between, do you see my hips are facing over here? All of the power is going forward. Something, a little trick to remember is your feet direction. So with a sword, if my foot is pointed towards him, it's very easy for my mind to go there. If my foot is going that way, it's harder for me to hit him. So if you point your foot towards your opponent, you have a better ability to hit them without having to try hard. Yeah. And the same with your back foot. Your back foot is going to be, hello,
ไป
the direction your back foot goes.
สวัสดีครับ มาทำสปาพอดี
3 ชั่วโมงอะติด
If you guys could possibly put this up at the back, please. Thank you very much. Just because the camera's set up over there.
All right, sorry.
That's okay. So foot direction. When your foot points is where your body's going to go. So I can go this way and I can go that way. Right now it's very hard for me to go this way. I have to actually turn and go there. So if I want to go over there and set up really nicely. I like this. I'm going to borrow this. Let's do what they're doing. It looks like fun.
เดี๋ยว
They're keeping,
ไม่บ้า ฟิวเยอะ
they're keeping in range and just
ทำอะไร
taking
แบบ
steps.
ทำอะไร
You can change as well, change hands if you want.
แต่จะให้กันได้ แต่ก็แลกเรื่อยๆแต่ชนแล้วอย่าให้มือไม่มีเพชเชอร์ เฮ้ยอย่าจะเป็นเลยแรงแล้วกดไม่อยากโกงเลยแขนยืดตอนนี้
Very nice, guys. Very nice. Now change it so that you're bound with your blade of your hands. Okay?
So fucking tired. ทำไมหลับตาด้วย
If you're doing this right, guys, you shouldn't have to have your eyes open.
What the fuck?
You're right, okay? Very nice.
Have to watch everybody.
ฮะของ
กับประกอบ
เล่นไม่เป็นเลย
มันคือเราบอกว่าเราสัมผัสไปเรื่อยๆก็ทำให้มันต่อไปเรื่อย
Are you joining it? Hi.
Sorry that I'm late.
Oh, no worries.
Traffic is really bad.
I know, I tried to be here at 5, but wasn't here at 5. No problem. Do you want to just warm up a little bit, warm up your arms and the back and stuff?
ช่างเถื่อนเพิ่งออกจากป่าใช่ไหม
Are you joining it as well?
ๆไม่ใช่พอดีว่าขึ้นไปที่สอง
That's okay, you can take turns, right? What's your name? Mine. Nice to meet you. Oh.
แต่ก่อนโง่มากนะสมัยเรียนโมใหม่ๆเรียนนี้ทับใหม่เนาะ
ก็บ้านได้ทำอะไรบ้างก็ปล่อยไว้อย่างนี้แหละ
ต้องล้างนี่นะล้างนี่ก็คนแรงหน่อยไม่ไม่กันง่าย
แต่ที่ผ่านมาที่เรียนเงียกับไรท์มีกี่โมงไม่แน่เราจุดไหนการอินโคพี่เข้าจอดรถสวนลุมเสร็จแล้วยังไงเก่งจีนตามที่เขาที่แล้วที่แล้วจำไม่ได้แล้วเก่งจีนเก่งจีนเอาเก่งจีนเป็นหลักเก่งจีนแล้วมองไปข้างๆเก่งจีนถ้าเราหันไปทางด้านขวาไปทางด้านเราเก่งจีนอยู่ข้างหน้าขวามือเป็นหน้าก้าวข้างซ้ายเลยเดินตรงข้ามจะทางแยกนั่นเนี่ยพอมาเนี่ยพวกนี้ได้แต่ว่าพรุ่งนี้พี่อยู่ได้แค่ถึงประมาณบ่ายโมงนะเพราะว่ามีปริญญาวัตรต่อตอนบ่าย2
Do you have a stick?
Yeah, he had
Okay guys, because we've had a few additions since we did this exercise, we're going to go back and do the exercise where we're cutting and then bring it up, thrust, flip, down, up, thrust. So the point of this, so that's okay tonight, the point of this is to always keep an offense on your opponent. It's lovely to cut back here as long as you're out of range. Because if you're still in range, and I go back here, what can you do to me?
A lot. Everything. The guard is open.
Where's the attack? Where's my attack? I have no attack to you.
Yeah, the guard is open.
Right now? So if it goes back here? Technique.
Go.
Yes, good, okay. If my sword is forward from my hips at all times, when I'm in range, I've got the ability to bring it into play very fast. So this little drill is going to be practicing keeping your sword forward. Okay? So I'm going to go this direction. I'm cutting forward. I bring it back to my hips and up, I thrust. And then I flip to the other side, cut down, up, thrust. Flip to the other side, cut down, up, thrust, flip to the other side, down, and you get the idea. So, that's a lovely sound. What's that? And then you can flow once you get.
For this exercise, you don't need to no need to step.
You can do what you want. You don't need to, but it's really just practicing keeping the blade forward. If you want to step, you can, but I don't think you need to for this. I mean, if you want, sure. Oops. So what this does is it causes a threat to one in my head. Nick, if I could borrow you again. So if you could do that to me just slowly so they can watch. Okay? So attack. Yeah. I defend. Just cut down. Keep going with the flow. Come back up. Yeah. And thrust.
Oh.
Yeah, you're thrusting. I'm gonna defend to this direction, which leaves this side of my head open, which is why you flip over the top. Yes, there we go. So just go from the thrust again, Nick, if you could. Yep. Flip down. And then from the other side, just from the thrust. Yep. Yeah. So the point is you threaten one side of the face and then flip it over and attack the other, okay? So once again. Oops. Just start really slowly, guys, until you get comfortable with the precision of it.
That's like 20,000.
Sweet.
Plan nữa chứ.
Do you have enough space there, guys?
No worries.
Okay.
And let me see.
Lovely. Cool. Swords up. How are your arms?
Yeah.
Really warm? Cool. So here's a little bugbear of mine. Do you know what a bugbear is? Bugbear is like a gripe or something I'm annoyed by. Because in Star Wars, all the time you see people who do big spins
Oh, yeah.
and they move the back. So I'm going to say spinning is fantastic, but I'm going to add something to this. If you want to spin, so my enemy's over there. If I want to spin, I'm going to protect my back. Yeah? So I'm facing him. Oh, you killed my father. Okay, fine. You see? Like, just always keep the sword in front between you and your opponent. This is your shield. The sword is your shield. Yes! And think about it just being a magnet between you and the other person. So that the sword, yes, perfect.
Oh,
Yes,
lovely.
lovely.
Little bit weird.
And if you're having trouble with it coming out, just think about protecting your spine. Okay? Yeah, that's it. So if you do this again, just stop for a sec, guys. I can bring it up. Cool. So face me this way. Cool. So if he does the spin and when he turns, I swing. The point is that the sword should stop me from connecting with the spine. Yeah? So again, bam. That's okay. That was just timing. You did it fine. It was just the timing was wrong. Okay? Bam. So just always keep something protecting the back of you. And then you can do all the fancy spins you
ฝา
want.
ไว้ยืดออกไปข้างหน้ามากไม่งั้นไม่พ้นลองดู
Nice. That looks really
หมุ
good.
นแล้วปัดเสร็จ
อย่างนี้มากไม่กันไม่ได้เสียบหลังต้องเป็นมุมหลังคาหนึ่งมาอ๋อมันคือการไม่ได้ตัวเราหมุนเร็วนี่เอาไว้ควบคุมเรา
Cool, good enough.
Hey, let's get all this after.
Yeah, okay. Pair up again, guys. Work with someone you haven't worked with. Find a new partner.
ยากที่สุดอ้าวมือก็เราต้องผ่าน
My name is Mango Montoya.
You my
You give my part.
Okay, nice. All right, this time, guys, we're going to work from the bind. I want you to practice the pulse, okay? You remember the pulse? If you weren't here for the pulse, it's where the two blades are joined together, right? And when one person feels the other, when one person feels the other guy's weak, he pushes, it pulses, okay? And it's very little work through your body. It's like a whip, okay? That. What I don't want to do is make his sword go really far away. Because let me push you really far, okay? Once his sword is away from me, I can't feel him anymore. And he could do anything. Yeah? So it's just a little tiny pulse.
It's not a forward thing, right?
It's no, I'll do it with each of you so you can feel what I'm doing. Okay? The power's coming from my mind.
Stop.
ก็จะทีกันครับทำให้ก่อนมา
That's what it feels like.
เข้าไปเฉยไม่ตัดทั้งไปปิดเอามือไหม
That's what it feels like. You see nothing in the body's moving except my diaphragm. Very, very subtle. Something else I'm doing, guys, I didn't realize I'm doing this, sorry, is I'm also giving my sword a little bit of a push. So when I breathe out, my second hand is causing a lever, but it can be pulled as well, if it's the other way.
ลองไปตัดนะ
And show me what it feels like. Like that. Sometimes we can do it again. Very difficult.
ไปได้ไม่ได้ ฮะ เดี๋ยวตาไล่กูตัดไป
Not much.
ว่าไม่ได้คิดตาราง4-5นะ
Okay.
เคยได้ยินนะแต่ไม่เคยทำเลย หมดละ เลิกจะบอกว่ามันเป็นนี่แหละเกี่ยวกับการคือไม่ได้มันแล้วการของข้างอยู่โอเคเลย
Very nice.
ล่าอย่างไร
Relax a little. You're very feel like this. Just breathe and let your legs relax just a little. Yeah.
เฮ้ยไม่ได้
Okay, guys, we're gonna start to wrap up. So we have some time to do some playing, unless you want more of this. Up to you.
Can we?
What's that?
Similar, like today and tomorrow.
Yeah, they're similar but different. Same but different. So we have the choice now. I can keep going for another 20, or I can keep going for another 10. Up to you. 20? Go for 20.
I got 10.
Go for 10.
I hit each other right already.
Alright, raise your hand.
Okay, 20s.
1,
1, 2, 3.
จะเรียนเลสซันอีกกี่นาทีว่าจะปล่อยให้สบาย
Democracy.
10 is fine.
Huh?
Amy is fine.
What about 15?
Okay.
In the spirit of battery.
15?
15. 1, 5.
เจอครึ่งทาง
10 high.
15
10. Okay. Okay, sweet. Great, fantastic. All right. So what we've covered is going back to the basics, the mechanics of the body. I want to be using my hips for my power, casting my power towards the person. I want my feet to control my direction. If I want to hit someone, I want my front foot to be in line with where I'm going to hit. And I want both parts of my body to work together. If I'm using a single-handed, obviously I'm not going to use both my hands, but I want my body to be balanced. So if I'm using two hands, both hands should be working together. Something I didn't cover earlier is when you're holding your sword with two hands, you want the direction of both of your hands to be in agreement. Yes, exactly. So if you've done any cutting or anything like that, you need it to be on the same line for you to get an even balance to the cut. Okay. So I'm exaggerating right now with the direction of my finger so you can see what I'm doing, but when I close my hands, my knuckles, here, and here, are going in the same direction. And this will help you with the bind as well, because if my hands are crooked, I'm not going to have as much strength. When I say strength, I mean structure. I'm not going to have as much structure to my body to defend against a bind. So if my hand's weak, like this, just push. Yeah, there we go. That's really bad for me. If I adjust my hands right now, how's that for you? Yeah. So if you guys could pair up again and just practice having your hands in alignment with each other with the bind.
Feel so weak? Oh no, not really.
Yeah, so slip your hands around just to feel the difference. Yeah.
มันงอมันงอ
So what I want you to do this time is just from here, you're just rotating your hands, your grip, to feel the difference between when it's strong.
Keep someone pressure.
Yeah. Yeah. So right now, if I'm like this is weak for me. Yeah. And now I'm going to rotate my
เป็นอะไรที่ก็ไปเต็มเลยหัวก็แขนดีแล้วใส่ด้วยกันเข้าไปสัมผัสเข้าไปบานแต่ไม่ได้แทงเข้าไปแค่กันแค่ประโคมยังปล่อยเต็มแขน Don't close ไส้แตกเซเวอร์ข้าวพุ่งแน่นอนเจอตารางเรียนเนี่ยข้าวพุ่งแน่นอนตารางเรียนโหดมากคุ้มตังเลยเซเวอร์จังไม่หนักกับ10 พอแต่พวกนี้ต้องได้ไปดูลงไป
Yeah, I just want you to view the points where that's from.
ตายหมดเลย
ลงไปดันไปเรื่อย
Yeah, so it's the direction of your bones, not like this. Something like not like that. Yeah. Exactly.
Sam,
Yes, hello.
how do we usually stand? Like, vertically or?
Up to you. Because then I have a power waiting to put into the cut.
Okay.
But I can generate power as well right here. It's just a personal preference. If you're going to do it straight down though, you don't want to pull it. Guys, a good question. What's your name again? Fun just said that which foot goes forward. Now this is personal preference for me. I always have my left foot forward. The reason for that is because I start out of range. So if Brian's there and I'm up here, okay, he's in range, so I'm moving back. Now I'm definitely in range. So right now, what I've got is potential to hit him with my kick. If I'm starting like this, I don't feel as comfortable with this because most of my power is coming from my right side. Even though my body's working together, I don't have as much potential to do a big strike. You see what I mean? So it's really personal preference. The other thing is if you're going to cut right through, take a leg. If you're going to cut through, just take a step so that it passes. So personal preference for me, left foot forward, so that I can put the power of my hip rotation into the cut. The other thing is when you cut, I don't know if you guys are familiar with cut before the step.
Yes.
Yeah, you are? Cool.
No,
No?
not for me.
Oh, okay. So in sorry, words are failing me. In Western swordsmanship, the principle of the hand moving before the foot is the thing. You want your foot to be in reserve. So the two land so that everything's together, but you don't do this.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, even though that's an exaggeration. Surprising how many people do that until they learn. You have to move your top half of your body separate to your bottom because the lower part of your body needs to be free to change halfway through. If I come in for a strike and he reacts, oh gosh, if I've already committed my leg, I don't have any reserve to get out of the way. So I need to practice moving my top half and then moving my bottom half. So that you can, a drill you can do is there and then change your mind at the last minute as you cut, yeah. Just really exaggerate the difference between the top and the half of your body and the bottom. It's really just moving your hand before your feet, yeah. But you need to be able to still bring your foot into play when you make it. It's like hovering almost.
So basically, it's just about like the timing between the timing between upper body and lower body.
อย่างนี้เลยโจ้นช่วยดูดิเจอผมกับชั้น2วันนี้เจออะไรกัน
Very nice guys.
You can do that. Something that is anymore.
You can't, or you can.
ไม่เข้าไปใกล้สมัยนี้
too many times
Oh, yeah. Mm. I understand.
เอ้าจะบอกว่าไม่เข้าไปใกล้มันต้องเอื้อมกับวิคุณเข้าแล้วเอาโอเคคุณไซส์ก็เสร็จเราไม่ได้เฉียบเข้าไปเลยกาว
Now,
เดี๋ยวถึงเลยแต่คุณแค่ออกได้ไปคุณไม่ได้ใส่ก้าวใส่ครับพี่วันท้ายเลยครับ
and you guys have a bar ring, you know.
นี่เบาๆนี่คือแค่โรยเฉยตอนที่ท้ายเลย
But not with the lightsaber.
โอเคโอ้ sorry เสร็จเลยต้องมีน้องกัน
And then,
แต่มันไม่ได้ติดกินละ
Something you can do is defend, when you defend low, is change from this side to that side. Yeah. Yes, that's where you struggle with that. Yeah, so typically it's again, change. Yeah, change. Change.
เขาอยาก
Yeah.
โอ้
Very short. Gotta come out in the
ประกาศแล้วตั้งแต่2 ฟุต 3 ฟุตแล้ว
this thing just go by.
ไม่ก็ถึงเคยเปลี่ยนคนมาเต้นแล้ว
It's
เดี๋ยว
just
เจอน้ำหันเจออะไรประกาศเลย
That's better. That's 10 times better.
2 ฟุต
That's what we want.
ไม่เจออะไรไม่ถึงมือเดียวไม่ถูก
Very nice. Good stuff.
because
เปลี่ยนดิเรคชั่น
Well,
go.
what do you guys think?
Yep.
ยังไงก็ได้
Yeah, that's good
คือ
info.
ไม่ต้องแบบว่าไหนไปเลยอ่ะ
Yeah, just a load of that. Just shifting. Sorry, you must be
I think I can pick up.
Well, we recorded it, so watch it.
Long sword is a thing that I never have any experience with.
Ah.
Usually I am dual wield, but not with a long sword.
ต้องสอบ
It's all about controlling the subject. Which is why I
จริงๆไม่บายเลยจริงๆ
I think
เข้าแล้วไม่ต้องบายเช็คให้เปลี่ยนดิเรคชั่น
any instruction you give people is going to be the main foundation of the instructions often.
ก็ได้2 องค์มือก็ได้เพราะองค์หน้าไปตามแล้วใช่หรอ
Cool. Very nice. All right. Well, that totally flew. We're now in free time for the next 40 minutes, but I'll ask that we'll wrap with 5 to ask me questions, whatever. It's up to you. This is your playtime.
This is the red one.
เออเต็มดีกว่า